Hello, my friends. For today's beer review, we're going to be taking a look at Left Hand Brewery's Sawtooth Nitro. Left Hand Brewery's Sawtooth Nitro is a beer that I've never had before. I love the way Left Hand Brewery does their nitro beers. They manage to get a ton of nitrogen in without having a charge or a widget. And they usually, so far I've had two from them. I've had their Nitro, Milk Stout Nitro, and their Wake Up Dead Russian Imperial Stout Nitro. Both of them had the consistency of coffee creamer, and it's a very impressive and unique mouthfeel that no other brewery has been able to pull off for me so far from a bottle. On tap, of course, but from a bottle, no. This seems to kind of be in the air on what kind of beer it is. On the label it says All American Ale. On the website, let's see, on Beer Advocate, I actually checked it because I wasn't sure. They're calling it an Extra Special Strong Bitter, or ESB, Extra Special Bitter, is what they're calling this. And on the back, as far as specifications goes, it says super smooth, nutty malt flavors balanced by herbal hops. So the first half makes me think of like a brown ale, or one of the hazelnut ales, or even an old ale. But then the herbal hops part, I don't know. This is once again one of the beers you want to enjoy at 40 to 45 degrees in a pub glass. Got the standard pint glass here. And this is one of those beers you pour straight down the middle as vigorously as you can to generate a head. This comes in, let's see, the ABV on this is not listed. Let me check on that again. 5.3%, barely higher than just your average domestic beer. So there's everything that I need to say. Without further ado, let's get the cap off of here and see what Sawtooth is all about. I'm hoping it's as good as everything else I've had from Left Hand, because so far Left Hand has not let me down. Here comes the really fun part, pouring their nitro beers. So, as you can see, we have what's called the volcano effect, where the head is slowly rising from the bottom to the top, and it does not pour over, even though we poured it vigorously. Formed a nice finger of off-white, kind of ivory head, very creamy and solid, which is to be expected from their nitro beers. They're always like a solid hockey puck of marshmallow just floating in your glass. Up into the light, it is a very dark, kind of orangish amber color. Kind of weird having that as a nitro beer. This will be my first nitro beer that's not just a really dark stout or porter. Let's give it a smell. Not a super complex smell. It's definitely malty, but there are hops there too. Kind of reminds me of a Bock. The hops and the malts are actually just about perfectly balanced. The hops may be just a bit dominant over the malts, but not much. Truthfully, the smell is actually very reminiscent of an old ale, and with higher hops than usual. But it also kind of reminds me of Shiner Bock. Just a little bit of milkiness, not much. Not a lot going on with this. You've got slightly sweet hops and slightly sweet malts, and really that's it. Not complex in the smell, but let's give it a taste. That's boring. Tastes like a kind of creamy. It's creamy yet watery at the same time. Like, the head makes you think it's going to be real thick and creamy, and the body is just thin, even for being a nitro beer. It does leave really nice lacing on the glass. It tastes all right. I mean, it's not bad. It's a good beer, but it's very boring. It kind of reminds me of like imagine a really toned down Founder's Curmudgeon old ale. That's what this reminds me of, kind of in the taste. Even though there's hops, that's what it's reminding me of the most. You've got just really watery, lightly sweet hops up front. And that develops into just watery, slightly bitter malts in the back. And that's it. There's no... You know, they say it's going to have a nutty flavor. I'm not really getting a nutty flavor. That's why I'm saying it reminds me of an old ale. An old ale is a very minimalistic beer. It's just got like molasses and malts, and that's about it. This has just got a little bit of hops up front, a little bit of malts in the back. Extremely sessionable beer. You could drink through plenty of these. It's very smooth and easy going down. It does have a good mouthfeel, even though it's hard to explain. It's like the flavors are watery, but there is a little thickness to the beer. But it's slightly underwhelming. I'm not saying it's a bad beer. It's definitely, it tastes pretty good, but it's just nothing special. I'm gonna give this beer a middle of the road. Actually, no, I'm not, because it's a nitro. I'm gonna give it a 5.7. It's okay. Okay, leaning towards it's good. This is my rating for this. I would say still try it if you get it, just for it being a nitro beer, because their mouthfeel is very impressive. But if you got this in competition with the Milk Stout Nitro or the Wake Up Dead, grab one of those, because this is just kind of bland. This is so hard for me. I really wanted to like this, but it's just a kind of boring, basic beer taste that happens to have a very creamy head and slightly creamy mouthfeel. Anyway, there you guys go. That has been Left Hand Brewery's Sawtooth Nitro. Hope you enjoyed the review as always, and stick around for the next beer review.